So you started a clinic, and the thing that you're the most scared about is getting sued. Now, this is not a question or a thing that is new to you. This is something, or just peculiar to you, but this is something that most healthcare business owners are scared of because lawsuits do happen. But how do you avoid them? Okay, here are some tips for you to avoid getting sued in your healthcare business. Number one, get malpractice insurance. Yes, malpractice insurance will, at least if you do get sued, will give you some bandwidth and coverage to allow you to afford any type of medical related lawsuit. Second, get general liability insurance. So the malpractice is if there's a physical deformity that a patient is alleging that you did by your medical services. General liability insurance is if your business in total gets sued. Say someone slips and falls, or there's an employment dispute. Your general liability insurance will help cover some of that. So make sure you have those things. Okay, those are things that you should do to help if those things happen. What do you need to prevent them from happening overall? Well, first, make sure that you have solid contracts. They're contracts with your employees, they're contracts with your vendors, they're contracts with anybody that you potentially do business with. Those things help clarify confusion between parties so that if there is a dispute between the parties, you can go back to the written language and that you can solve the dispute outside of litigation. I will also say, make sure that you're not using ChatGPT or you're not using something that your friend gave you. There's a lot of people who will say, well, my friend gave me this contract and it works for them. You need to make sure that you go through it, you understand the terms of the agreement so that if a dispute arises, you can speak to what the contract actually says. You don't need an attorney to interpret the contract that you created, right? Or if you're signing an agreement, make sure that your attorney reviews the agreement and you understand the terms that you're signing. So that'll help resolve a lot of issues. Make sure you have contracts. Another thing that's really going to help you solve lawsuits for your business is make sure that when you're starting your business, that to the extent possible, trademark your business name and trademark your logo. Now, why do I say that? Now, a lot of people don't think this is a big deal, but more and more healthcare businesses are being contacted for trademark infringement. So you might think, well, I don't want to spend this money and this doesn't make any sense, but it's not even just about trademarking your business, it's also making sure you're doing the due diligence and doing the necessary research so that you're not using someone else's business name and you're not using someone else's logo. So you need to make sure that you're doing that analysis before you launch a business and before you're branding your stuff. So you want to avoid a lawsuit? Do that. Obviously, you want to be a good provider. And being a good provider does not mean, oh, you've got your medical license, your nursing license, or whatever license you have. But it's also going to mean that you're keeping up with your state regulations for the scope of practice. When we talk about malpractice suits, we need to also think about what was within your scope, right? There's a lot of latitude that providers have, but there is some areas that are highly regulated, even for, let's say, a physician or a dentist, right? Like if a dentist is trying to start a med spa, you got to look and see within your state regulations as to if you can do that and to what extent you are infringing or you're stepping into what is considered medical practice, right? That not only can lead to a med mal lawsuit, but also there are licensing matters that you'll have to endure if you're doing things outside of what your state regulations allow you to do. That's hugely important. Because a lawsuit is not just, people are nervous about a lawsuit because a lawsuit is expensive. But if you got a state regulator closing down your practice, that's going to be equally scary and it's going to be equally, or if not more, costly because some of those things can shut your business down indefinitely. So you need to really pay attention to something like that. I know we talked about contracts. One of the things I will say is making sure you do a deep analysis if you're deciding to join into some type of partnership with someone. Now, when I say deep analysis, what does that mean? That means I need you to understand if you're going to get into a business with someone, a partnership, to understand who you're going into business with. I need you to do a background check on this person. You will be surprised what you find. Now that might be something completely crazy. Why would I tell you to do that? I trust Bob or I trust Stacy. I've known her all my life. They're so great. You don't know how they are in business. Stacy can be sued 17 times, and you might not know that because she's never going to tell you that. But if you do a background check, you'll find out that Stacey's been sued 17 times. If Stacey's been sued 17 times for cheating her other business people or cheating her vendors, you might not want to go into business with her. That will save you a lawsuit or save you a lot of heartache and pain and any other thing that happens when you have business partners dispute. So those are things that I would do if I'm going to start a business. I want to stop not just a lawsuit, but anything that's going to cost me heartburn and cash. Reach out to Doris Dike at dklawgroup.com, and we'd love to help you with your healthcare business. Take care. Bye-bye.